Welcome back to the Disc Store on Facebook Live. We're just going to talk about some just random disc golf stuff today. Any questions you guys want to ask us about our favorite discs, what disc we recommend for beginners, anything and anything about any disc we sell, feel free to ask it and we'll try to answer as many as we can. One little note of business before we get started on the disc golf stuff. We just launched a brand new Super Color Discraft Ultrastar design, our soccer ball. Our latest in our other sport-related designs.
Take that out of the bag. Let's see that thing.
Yeah. So these are on sale from now until Sunday at midnight for $12.89. Brand new. Just started shipping them today. Pretty sweet design. Also, if you comment a question on this video for us to answer, you have a chance to win a $25 gift card. So keep watching, keep commenting, keep asking questions. And this might be yours at the end of the video. Alright, one thing I want to start with before we get into some of your questions are some of the more underrated discs that I think that I throw a lot in my bag. Discs that you don't see a lot of people throwing or you don't hear a lot about that I think are actually really good discs that you might want to check out. The first one is the Latitude 64 Night. When this came out last summer, there was a lot of hype around it, new 14-speed driver. But then it kind of died out and I hadn't really seen anybody throwing them. I picked up one from here just so I could throw it and tell people about it, so I could actually, give some good recommendations. Kind of fell out of my bag pretty quickly, but then I took it out a couple months ago and started throwing it again. It has some crazy glide and just goes forever. I just had to figure out how to throw it right. I tried to throw it hard and flat like my Ballista. Doesn't fly like my Ballista. When I did that, it turned over. You throw it just a little bit of hyzer flip. It flies a lot more like the Westside Destiny, or maybe like a stable Innova Katana. So you gotta throw it with a little hyzer flip, let it pop up, glides out forever, and then just slowly fades out. It's probably the disc I can throw the farthest in my bag right now, so it's definitely a solid disc I think you should check out if you got some good arm speed. One of my favorite discs that I just don't see a ton of people throwing is the Discraft Zone. This is a Speed 4 mid-range / putter from Discraft. It's super overstable. I think it's like 2, the glide's 304, I think is its numbers. What I use this disc for is a lot of my approach shots. So anything from about 200 to about 60 or 70 feet, this is what I'm throwing. I don't throw it like flat straight at the basket like you would a rock or a buzz. What I do with this guy is I release it a little bit anhyzer, force it over on itself, so that as it comes out, it's fading at the basket. And I'm not gonna say I drop it in the basket every time, but it's crashing out, so it doesn't fly 50 feet past the basket. It crashes out, and I'm usually 15 to 20 out on a lot of my upshots. So this is a go-to that I'm throwing on almost every hole. Definitely a disc you should check out. But again, a disc you can't just straight up throw like your normal throw. It's definitely a touch shot that you got to work on a little bit, but I think it's a really solid addition to anybody's bag. Another kind of utility disc that I think people should throw a little more is the Discraft Glide. Now again, this is very much a utility disc. What I used to use this disc for a lot was before I had a really solid forehand. Instead of throwing forehand, I'd throw this guy, and it has a ton of turn. Like it's not a disc you're gonna throw in the wind because it's just gonna dump on you. But I would throw it on a turnover shot and just let it go, and it's like its name, it's got a lot of glide. So I used it in place of a forehand shot. If I needed something to go right, I throw this instead. Just pop it, let it go. Tight wood shots where you gotta go on a weird angle, this is a great disc for that. So those are 3 discs that I think are a little underrated in the disc golf community right now. The Latitude 64 Night, just for monster drives when you got lots of downwind open drives. This is a great disc. The Discraft Zone, especially ones that are nice and concave like this one is. I might have to buy that later. For just, really tight approach shots, just to make sure you're landing in the same spot every time. And the Discraft Glide, just for big turnover shots where your flick just doesn't quite work. This fits that hole really well.
All right, Nathan, let's get to a couple questions. Joey wanted to know, what's the first disc you ever threw?
The first disc I ever
Disc
threw
golf disc. Let's do that.
was probably a DX Sidewinder. When I started playing, we had 3 guys that I worked with that took a bunch of us new guys out. We just played out of their bags, and so I think it's the first disc they handed me was a rolled, beat-up DX Sidewinder.
Awesome. Best putter. Billy is asking, what's the best putter, or what's your favorite putter?
I can tell you what's in my bag and has been for the last 3 years since they came out is Dynamic Disc Fusion Judges. They're a lot like a Challenger or a Big Beat AVR. Nice and straight. They got that bead to rest your finger on that I like a lot. And I've been throwing the Fusion Plastic just because it doesn't beat up as quickly as the Classic. But I have a Classic one in my bag for when it gets rainy because the Fusion gets a little slick. But there's hardly a wrong answer when it comes to putters. Whatever feels great in your hand and makes you more comfortable.
What about different plastics in the cold? Is there anything that flies different, or?
Yeah, I grabbed a few for some examples. What happens in the cold when discs get cold is they get a little more rigid, a little more hard. And so like your Star, your Champion, Opto, or wherever, those normal type of plastics get a little bit more rigid, and so they don't flex as much as they normally would. They're a little bit more overstable. Also, I've seen DX plastic crack in the cold because it just gets so cold, hits a tree, and it doesn't give any, it just splits. So some of the plastics that work a little bit better for the cold are like G-Star. It's made to be a little bit more grippy, and it's made to be a little bit more flexible. So in the cold, when it gets more rigid, it's going to be closer to Star plastic, and it'll still fly like you expect it to. It's got a little bit more flex. So along the same lines, Discraft has ESP Flex and Z Flex, which are just like their stock plastics, except they're a little flexier. Latitude has Frost, which we don't carry at the moment, but that's another option. Innova Pro Plastic is also a little bit flexier. So just in general, anything that's a little softer has a little bit more flex. When it firms up in the cold, won't be as firm as some of your other Star or Champion plastics.
We're getting questions about gloves in the cold weather. What do you think?
I've personally never worn gloves playing disc golf. I'll generally glove my left hand. I'll usually carry a glove for my right hand, and I'll wear it in between holes, and then the 10 seconds I need to throw, I'll take it off and throw. But we just got some of the friction disc golf gloves in that me and Steve are excited to try out the next time that we get to go play. He's left-handed, I'm right-handed, so it works out. We have one pair and test it out for both of us. The big thing is just making sure the grip on those is good, and the seams are what I worry about on like the friction gloves. And so like the Huck Nation ones that don't have any seams, I would be a little more tempted to try out, so I'm going to do that next time I play as well. We'll have a video reviewing some gloves as soon as it's not -3 out and then we can actually go play disc golf. We'll get that up for you too.
Gabe wants to see the frictions behind you.
All right.
We had some comments on frictions.
A pair right here. These are their ultimate gloves, but they actually are pretty similar to their disc golf gloves. These are way too small for my hand, but the Friction disc golf gloves are like these late run 2.0s from Friction. They have this grip on the inside of your finger so that when you're throwing flick or backhand where you're gripping, you're going to have the grip on it. And so that's going to help you with just the slickness from the cold or from being wet, help you grip it a little better. They'll keep your hands a little bit warmer. None of the gloves are really made for warmth, so they're better than nothing, but they're not going to, make your hands start sweating when it's 12 degrees outside. But they will just help with a little bit of grip. I know some guys who have worn them for Ultimate in the summer just help with sweat, so that's another option in disc golf as well.
I'm going to go over here to the wall just to go see what's going on. See if I can get through here. So here are the gloves, if you guys were asking. These are Friction 2.0. They have the colors. So we've got all different colors, but they've got yellow, blue, red, white, black. And then these are the Club Ultimate gloves, Club Junior. So that's what this is. Guys, this is our Ultimate wall. So these are going to be all of our discs built for Ultimate Frisbee. And so we have a lot of different brands. We have Discraft, of course. We've got some Innova Pulsars. We have some Daredevil game discs. That's what you see there. And we've got a few others as well. So, and then we've got some original designs I'll show you guys. We've got our unicorn. We've got our dartboard disc that comes with sticky darts, so you can play some darts hanging on the wall. We've got our basketball, our baseball, and then this week our soccer ball. We have our beach ball as well. And of course, if you want to get artsy, we got Mona Lisa over there, and a Van Gogh, and of course Old Glory, and we've got a few others. So I'm gonna go back to Nathan. Guys, keep sending in your questions, and just know that we can't see all the questions that come through. So it's okay if you ask it a few times. I'll probably see it that way. Yeah, so thanks for commenting. Keep asking questions.
Don't forget, somebody who's commenting on this video will win this $25 gift card before it's all said and done. I know earlier we had a question about discs recommended for beginners. I'll run through some of those here in our disc golf section. From Discraft to the discs that I point people to right away are, driver-wise, are the Avenger SS. This is super easy for low arm speed players, which most new players are, to get a little bit more distance. It's understable, which means it tends to drift to the right if you throw it hard. So for people with lower arm speeds, it'll fly straighter than most other drivers will. For a similar reason, I also usually recommend the Discraft Heat. Very similar flight path. It's easier to throw. It's got a little bit thinner rim, so you can hold on to it a little better if you have smaller hands. Definitely good drivers to start with. On the Innova side, some of the discs I recommend people start with driver-wise are the Leopard 3. Again, really similar disc to the Heat and the Avenger SS. It's got a little bit of understability and a lot of glide, so it's easier to throw than some of the higher speed drivers. The first number you see on a disc is always speed. And if you're a newer player, you really want to stay out of the double digits. I know the Avenger SS I just recommended is a 10, but that's as high as you'd want to go. Because the higher speed a disc is, the harder it is to control. So the worse choice it is for a beginning player. 7 is a nice, right in the middle number for a driver that works really well. The other one that's super popular among beginning players are the Sidewinder. Like I said, it's one of the first discs that I had. It's really easy, especially, and all these discs are great for ultimate players converting into disc golfers because they'll fly a little bit more like an ultimate disc than some of the more stock disc golf discs do. So this one, again, be able to throw it flat, it'll go straight for you with a little bit lower arm speed. Great places to start.
We're up to 65 viewers, doing pretty good. Josh wants to see some MVP and Axiom.
All right, Axiom is one of my favorite brands that I haven't gotten to throw a lot of yet, just because their colors are so pretty. Like this blue and yellow one, this looks sweet. I bought a Thrill a couple weeks ago just because it looked really cool. It actually matches this Wrath, the white and blue, except mine's a lighter blue, so almost like a frost color. So far, what I've thrown from it, Axiom I've liked. The Thrill is one of the discs I can actually talk about. It is a meat hook. I can't throw this much farther than like 275, and that's cranking on it, and then it just crashes out. So it's a really good placement driver if you need to go 250 and left. This does it. It skips real hard. It's a nice disc for that. I also really like, this one's a pretty color too. I almost bought this one. The Clash. It's very similar to a stable Innova Eagle. You can throw it hard, it'll go straight, and it's going to reliably fade out. I throw it in the wind a lot for some of my shorter drives. I like it a lot, still getting used to it. I will say, when MVP and Axiom first came out, I was really nervous about this rubber rim. I was like, well, that's going to get beat up in like 2 throws. Why even bother buying that? So I stayed away from them for a while. I've been really surprised at how well the rim holds up. I play on a lot of rocky courses, like out in Colorado this summer, and threw it out there, and it's still holding up great. They're a lot higher quality than I initially gave them credit for, and they make some really great plastic. On the other side of this wall is all of our MVP discs. It's a little dark in this corner. I'm not sure if you can see everything. This is all of our MVP. For those of you that don't know, Axiom and MVP are the same company. They're related. They work together. Anytime you see a black rim, that's going to be one of the MVP discs. The only exception is their glow plastic, which is glow. And all the fun colored rims are going to be in the Axiom brand. It's fun. We have a lot of local guys who really love the MVP stuff, especially their new high-speed driver line that came out. All of these that have these pop tops, the Nitro, the Octane, I think the Orbital is one of them. They just bomb and go forever. I haven't had a chance to throw a lot of it yet, but we have several guys who come in and only look at this shelf, and they're great players. So they're definitely worth checking out. I'm gonna have to grab some, try it out, and do some reviews on it for you in the coming months. But it's solid plastic.
It's awesome. Again, we always get the question, ultimate players wanting to start with disc golf. Besides, we talked about a buzz. Maybe like a putter, mid-range, and a driver that would be good for them to pick up.
All right. The first disc any ultimate player wanting to start disc golf that I always point them to is the Innova Champion Mako 3 or the original Mako, either way. This disc just looks and feels like an ultimate disc. It flies like an ultimate disc. This will be the most. You'll throw this just like an Ultra Star and feel the most comfortable throwing it. It really does just feel like a shrunk down Ultra Star and flies the same. It's a 5-speed, so you could putt with it if you wanted to. I've got friends who've done that. They throw it as a mid and as a putter. It's just, like I said, a mini Ultra Star, a great place to go. Putter-wise, where'd it go? I just moved some things around. I can't still find everything myself. The Innova AVR, for similar reasons, is very, very similar to an Ultimate Disc. It's just a little bit slower than the Mako. It's going to have a natural Ultra Star feel in your hand. You're probably going to want to avoid putters that have beads, like this one here. You can see that lip on the rim. As an Ultimate player, that's just going to feel a little weird to you and not be as natural. So anything that's got a beadless rim is probably going to feel the most natural for you. And then driver-wise, the Glide I mentioned earlier is a really good transition driver from Ultimate players. Let me take a look over here. This is another disc I recommend a lot for beginners and for Ultimate players too. Doesn't quite feel like the Ultimate disc like the first couple I mentioned, but no driver really is going to. The Dynamic Escape, again, has a very similar flight path. You can throw it with the same Ultimate form and it's going to give you a pretty predictable flight path. Nice and straight with a lot of glide. So those are 3 discs that I'd recommend for Ultimate players transitioning into disc golf. Alright guys, keep the questions coming. Don't forget that $25 gift card is on the line, so keep commenting, keep listening. What else we got, Evan?
They wanted to see Jawbreaker. We had a request to go see some Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker is one of the new plastics from Discraft. It's really kind of cool. It's also one of those plastics that's pretty good in the cold. These have been sitting by the door and they're still pretty flexy. It's a really interesting plastic. I'm not entirely sure how it's made.
Can you show a few colors so we can see it?
Interesting little smile on that one. It's the red. My favorite's the green, but we've sold all out of that. We mostly have this in Discraft's putters, so like the Banger, the Magnet, the Roach, the Challenger. It's just really cool looking. It's got a nice grippy feel. It's a little chalky, so as you sweat, it still has good grip. When it gets wet, it still has good grip. Just a neat, interesting plastic.
Single disc challenge. You ever done one of those, and what would you choose?
If you're gonna do a single disc challenge, you're still gonna need a little distance out on the course, so you're probably gonna want at least a mid-range. If you're gonna go driver, you're all of a sudden not being able to. I don't putt really well with my high-speed drivers, just me. Maybe some of you guys out there do, but so I probably want to stick to a mid-range, so I still have some control around the basket, but still able to pop out a little bit of distance. My go-to would probably be an EMAC Truth, just because I can do a variety of shots with that, and I can do a lot of different things, hyzers, anhyzers, hit a lot of different lines with that disc, and still have a lot of control.
That's cool. We have some requests to see a Nova.
Innova Nova, yeah. We've been getting a lot of questions about that lately. I think Paul Macbeth recently did a video talking about this guy. This is very similar to the Axiom and MVP stuff, where you do this overmold rubber over the plastic. It just gives you a little bit more grip. And also not just grip on your hands, but grip on chains and on the ground. So where like your star or your champion plastics are gonna bounce a little bit, this will take some of that impact from say trees or the ground or chains and absorb some of that so it doesn't bounce as far. So in those tough placement shots where you want to get close to the basket but you can't roll away down the hill, like say Waterworks, where in Kansas City, where there's lots of steep hills that you might roll away on, this will stick to that hill a little better. This is also a really great ultimate player to disc golf disc. So again, it flies very similar to an Ultra Star. It's a little bit bigger, so it feels a little closer to an Ultra Star for most players. And this will just hold whatever line you put it on. If you turn it over with a little anhyzer, it'll fly any. If you hyzer it, it'll fly a little hyzer, and it'll just go dead straight if you put it flat. So this is in Paul Macbeth's bag. It's his go-to upshot disc. It fits the same. It doesn't fly the same as his zone, but it fits the same spot in his bag that my zone does. Anywhere like 200 and in, he's throwing this thing up until he gets into putting range. It's a really solid disc. It could do a lot of things for you.
Do you know the difference between the Mako 3 and the original Mako? Do they still make the original Makos?
I'm not sure if they still make the original Makos. About 3 years ago, Innova went and upgraded several of their discs. I think the T-Bird, the Leopard, the Mako, and the Shark. They basically took all of those discs and made their rims just a little bit wider to make them one speed faster. So like an original Mako was speed 4 with a glide of 5, and then 0.3. The Mako 3 is 5.50, not 0.3, 0.0. Then the new Mako is 5.500 instead of 4. So they basically took those, made them just a little bit faster, which means they go a little bit farther, and that's about it. They're almost identical discs, but they're just a little bit faster. So they go just about 10 to 20 feet farther than the original. I'll have to look into whether I know they still make the Leopard 3, the original Leopard alongside the Leopard 3. And I think they might have even discontinued the T-Bird 3 and went back to the original T-Bird, but I'm not sure about the Makos.
All right. We got another question about, can you explain the flight numbers again for someone who doesn't understand?
Absolutely. Let's walk over.
I think we have a chart somewhere. You might bring it in the light.
Yeah.
We have a chart hanging up on the wall. Nathan's going to go over that with you guys so we can explain some flight chart numbers.
All right, so if you look at these numbers right here, every disc that's rated on Innova's system is going to have 4 numbers. The first number here, speed, relates directly to the width of the rim, along with a couple other things, but generally the width of the rim, and that's the disc's ability to cut through the air. So a higher speed disc can translate to longer distance, but the higher speed it is, the harder you have to throw it to get it to fly right. So 1, 2s, and 3s are going to be your putters. So they don't cut through the air very well, but they're easier to control. And then 4 through 6, 4 and 5 is going to be your mid-ranges. And then 6 through 14, and I guess 15 in the Michelin and Rakitin's case, are going to be your drivers. And the higher speed it is, the wider the rim is, and the sharper it's generally going to be. The second number is glide, which measures the disc's ability to stay aloft. So it's how far it can go. Like a speed 5 disc that has a 6 glide can almost fly as far as a speed 12 disc with a 2 glide, because it just stays in the air better. So these higher glide means easier to throw, and generally is going to be somewhere in the more understable range. We'll talk about that in a second. The third number is turn, which the full name for that is high speed turn. So when the disc is going its fastest, this is how much for a right-handed backhanded player it's going to drift to the right when it's going fast. And this is why this and speed are really closely related. If you grab a 14 speed driver, if you can't throw it hard enough, you're never going to get to the high speed turn. so it's not going to have that drift like you're wanting it to. So that's why beginners, it's better to stay around the 6, 7, 8 range. Turn is generally from +1 to -5, and that's negative numbers is how far it's going to go to the right. Positive numbers means it's going to go straight to the left. And so the higher the number, the less power it takes to throw the disc, or the more right it's going to go. So like the glide I showed you earlier is like a -4, so that's why I throw it to just go right. And the fourth number is low speed fade. So when the disc starts to slow down, how hard does it hook back to the right? And so a 0 means it's just going to keep going straight, and a 5 is just going to meet hook and go left really hard as quickly as it can. And again, this is low speed fade, so if you're not throwing a disc hard enough to get to the high speed turn, it just skips to low speed fade. And that's why a disc that's supposed to be understable, which means it wants to go to the right on a backhand throw, is still going to the left for you, is because you're not throwing it hard enough. Which is something newer players get confused. They just want to grab the biggest, baddest driver when they're not throwing it hard enough to get the high speed turn, and they're just getting the fade out of it.
All right. Trevor is asking what's similar to a Champion Wraith driver.
Oh, Champion Wraiths are some of my favorite discs to throw. Let me see. Oddly enough, the Axiom Wrath, which is Wraith without the eye, is a pretty similar disc. It's not exactly the same. It's going to have a little bit less S curve to it than a Wraith does. It's going to have a pretty similar flight pattern. Just a little. It's not going to turn as much at the beginning. It's not going to fade as hard at the end. So it's a little straighter than the Wraith, but pretty similar. Disc I used to throw a lot is the Latitude 64 Havoc. It's a little bit longer than a Wraith, but it's got a pretty similar flight pattern. You can throw it pretty much the same and get the same results. And then the other one that's really close, that's actually not in my bag anymore because it was pretty much the same as the Wraith, so I didn't really need it. But it's another great disc, is the Dynamic Disc Trespass. It's got similar numbers to a Destroyer, but I find that it flies a little closer to a Wraith. It's generally got more turn to it than a Destroyer does, so it flies a lot more like a nice Wraith. So I used to have a Wraith and a Trespass in my bag, and they kind of bounce back and forth to having Trespasses or just Wraiths. But they're really solid discs, like them a lot. You can just bomb with these guys with a lot of control.
All right, and someone wanted to know about Discraft's rating numbers and Innovas and how to kind of interpret all of that. Is there a good place to go, or what would you say?
Our website, we have everything listed by Innova's ratings. Another good place to go is Inbound's Flight.
Inbound's Disc Golf.
Inboundsdiscgolf.com, I think, is the website. If you search Inbound's Flight charts, it'll come up. They ignore everyone's rating systems, and they just have rated it on a percentage basis. So like it go 0% is straight ahead, and it'll rate how much percentage turn it has with how much percent fade, and it'll show you the flight path of those discs, and you can compare them. Let's look at a Discraft disc, and I'll kind of explain where their ratings come from. And this guy. So Discraft just gives you one rating, this 2.5 down here, and what Discraft's rating means is that's how much left to right movement you have. A 0 is straight ahead. So if a disc is rated 0, that means it's going to roughly, if I throw it flat, it'll finish roughly straight ahead of me. It doesn't tell you if I hit it, they're going to go way over here and then come back. That's the difficulty with Discraft's rating, is something that has an Innova rating of -2.3 or an Innova rating of 0.0 are going to have a pretty similar Discraft rating, and they also completely ignore speed on Discraft. So I generally don't even pay attention to the Discraft ratings at all. I just go straight to somewhere like Inbounds or to any other site that has a Discraft disc rated by Innova's flight numbers, just because this tells you only one piece of information out of the 4 that you need to really know what a disc does. The other thing I'll mention when we talk about all these ratings numbers and what a disc should and shouldn't do, printing discs isn't an exact science yet. They're getting a lot better and things are a lot more consistent. But you can pick up 3 different Wraiths and they're going to fly slightly different, just based on a lot of different factors, like where the parting line of the mold was that day, the humidity in the factory can affect stability. and just lots of other things that are outside of their control, the exact quality of the plastic that they got in that shipment. So the flight rating numbers give you a good basis to go off of, but they're not guarantees. Like you're not going to definitely pick up this disc off the shelf and it's going to fly exactly like the flight chart showed, because it also doesn't factor in your arm speed. So find something that works well for you, and then you can use those rating numbers to compare what another disc will do for you. Because Will Schuster and Paul Macbeth throw a little harder than most of us, so discs do different things for them than they do for us. So it's good. The numbers are good to rate what you do compared to other discs.
That's awesome. Let's talk about the giveaway. Let's talk about it. Let's give people 1 more minute. So tell them what to do.
You got to comment on this video. Questions are great too. And we're giving away this $25 gift card, good for anything on our website, including the new soccer ball Ultra Stars that we debuted earlier in the video. Those are on sale for Sunday, $12.89, which is $7 off of the normal price through Sunday only. So get on those. Any last questions before we give that?
Someone actually wanted to see the Zuka.
Oh yeah,
see the Zuka stuff.
We this fall we just really expanded our bag offerings. We upped our pasta. Lots of things kind of dynamic we didn't have before. And one of the coolest companies we're starting to work with now is Zuka. They manufacture these really awesome looking carts. This is all I think stainless steel that's powder coated. The seat is manufactured to hold up to 300 pounds. It's actually still pretty light with all these cutouts. You're not talking about a lot of metal, so it's actually still pretty light, easy to maneuver. Like that's almost nothing there. Great for if you've got back problems or you just don't want to carry a heavy disc golf bag around anymore. I think when we did our first video on these guys, I crammed 32 discs in here. So it's got plenty of storage space. You've got these big pockets on the side that can hold a lot of stuff. It comes standard with this pouch, which has got a couple of pockets for like your phone, your wallet, any other valuables you have, and then a nice big drink holder right here. This is an upgrade you can buy. Their pouch that you can add on just for a little bit extra storage space, keeping your your zone and your go-to mid-range and your putters right here for easy access. And it also comes with a couple of drink holders, so it's got tons of storage space. Just takes that stress off your back if you want it, if you need to. We've got like 6 or 7 color combinations listed on our website. You can always request stuff too. We can order from them. Lots of bright colors, lots of cool colors. Check them out. They go for $2.95 a pop, which is the lowest price we're allowed to sell them for. So check those out. It's we're more on the expensive side for disc golf bags, but there's definitely a lot of quality here. They hold up really well.
All right, guys. We have a request to see the soccer ball again. We got 1 more minute, so keep commenting, and you guys can get the $25 disc store gift card. This is our brand new Discraft Ultra Star. This is an ultimate disc, and we just printed a soccer ball right on top. So I know there's a lot of soccer players who, got a hold of Ultimate and vice versa. So this is a sweet disc. Try to convince your soccer friends to play Ultimate. Maybe you can, maybe you'll confuse them. Maybe they won't know.
Soccer players make the best Ultimate players.
There you go. So we had a couple more questions that I want to get to real quick. We do print on Discraft disc golf discs, so we can print on a Buzz. So any custom image that you have, and we're actually going to do a video on that a little bit later, but send in a custom image, maybe your dog, maybe your family, maybe your girlfriend if you got one. We'll print it right on top of the disc, guys. It's a Discraft Buzz, and we'll get it right to you. You can find custom discs on our website. Just click on custom discs. So if you go on Disc Golf Custom Discs, you'll find it. We also print on top of the judges. So dynamic disc judge, we can print on top of that as well. So we can handle your UltraStar orders. So if you have artwork, we can get your order processed and printed. Joe Brown says he wants a disc with a cheeseburger on it. Joe, we can help you, so we can do that.
The idea board. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet, so.
A sushi disc, that's a good idea.
California roll.
I think the Cali roll would be great for it. Gil wants a disc with a dog on it. James Lynn says he could really use the gift card for a buzz. Gary says, Judge, say what? You should print on Ultrastar. Patrick, thanks for commenting, guys. All right, so we are going to announce the winner of the gift card, and the winner goes to Joey Stevens. Joey Stevens, you have won a $25 disc store gift card. Message us to claim the gift card, and we will get all your details and send that out to you as soon as we can. So congrats to Joey Stevens. Guys, grab this soccer ball on our website this week only. $7 off. It'll be $12.89. And go show your friends that, show your friends what's up. Trevor loves the soccer ball. He says, best combination of my two loves. So that's pretty awesome. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure and comment, and you can still share this video with your friends. This video will still be up on our Facebook page. So feel free to make comments as well, and we'll get those answered. We love engagement. We love doing these videos. So thanks so much for watching. Here, let me just show you here's our custom printing artworks here. So there you go. There's our short little ad that we have. Custom disc printing, ultimate disc golf. Your image here. So there you go, guys. If you want anything printed on a disc, go to our website, click on custom discs, and you can find it. We will have a video shortly explaining and showing our custom disc printing process. Thanks a lot. Make sure and follow our page so you can get notifications. Have a great day.
See you guys.